Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well today. I wanted to get on and talk to you a little bit about some of the biggest objections that can come up in authentic sales conversations and what to do about them. So anyone who has ever led a sales conversation, or probably even if you haven't led a sales conversation, but you've contemplated doing sales, you know that the three biggest objections or resistances that prospects have when they're considering buying a service, particularly transformational service, but really any kind of service, the three biggest objections that people usually have are either this is too expensive, right? The service is too expensive, or I'm not sure I have the money for this. That's another way of saying it. The second objection is this is too time consuming. It's going to take up too much time. I'm not sure I have the time for this. And then the third biggest objection that prospects can have when they're contemplating buying a service is it's not the right time for this, right? It's about timing. Maybe next year, maybe in a couple of months, but not now. So it's either this is too expensive, or I don't have the money for this, or this is too time consuming, I don't have the time, or it's not the right time for this right now. And of course, for many soul-led transformational leaders, when they're conducting a sales call and they hear one of these three objections, they get stopped in their tracks. Maybe you know this for yourself. You've been leading a sales conversation. Somebody says it's too expensive, or I don't have the time, or it's not the right time. And it's like you're a deer caught in headlights. You don't know what to do. And usually the result of that is that you don't end up making the sale. Or if you do end up making the sale, it's because you try to bargain with the prospect. Maybe you end up lowering your rates. And then I know for a lot of people, for a lot of entrepreneurs, this fear of prospects having one of these three objections come up in the sales call can even keep some entrepreneurs from doing the work to attract sales calls in the first place. And then you don't end up making sales, right? So, this is why I wanted to talk about this today, because I don't want this to happen to you. So here's the first thing to know, and this is really important. Only one time out of 10, maybe two times out of 10, but really the thing is that only one time out of 10, when somebody says that your service is too expensive, does it actually mean that they don't have the money to pay for it. And only one time out of 10, when a prospect says that they don't have the time, does it actually mean that they don't have the time to put into it. And only one time out of 10, when a prospect says, it's not the right timing, maybe next year or whatever it is, does it actually mean that it's not the right timing? That's usually not the case. Now, of course, sometimes it is the case, right? There is that one time out of 10 when the prospect actually doesn't have the money in their bank account, or when they literally just have so much on their plate that they don't have the time to put into it, or it's really not the right timing, right? And when this is the case, of course, the integrity thing to do is to honor it, right? You absolutely don't want to be one of those out of integrity salespeople that convinces prospects to take out loans to pay for their services. And yes, that is a thing. I've heard of that. And you absolutely don't want to be one of those out of integrity salespeople to convince someone that even though they've just had a major tragedy happen in their life, that they absolutely urgently need your service right now, right? If it's not the right timing for them. Unless, of course, your service is going to support them through the aftermath of that tragedy. Now, all that being said, right, so you want to be in integrity if those things really are the case, but all that being said, 9 times out of 10, when someone says, I don't have the money, or I don't have the time, or it's not the right timing, it almost always has nothing to do with money in the bank or how much time they have available. In most cases, when somebody says, I don't have the time or I don't have the money, what it actually means, even if your prospect doesn't realize that this is what it means, that this is what's happening for them behind the scenes, what it actually means is, I'm not sure that working with you is going to yield the result that I really want. I'm not totally convinced that if we work together, it's going to get me to where I want to go. And because of that, the service feels too expensive. In other words, it doesn't feel worth the money if they don't believe that it's going to help them get to where they want to go, or it feels too time consuming. In other words, it doesn't feel worth their time investment in your service if they don't deeply believe that working with you is going to help them create the results that they want. And that makes total sense, right? Because if you don't believe that you're going to be able to create what you want, any money that you spend on any service is going to feel like too much, even if it's the price tag isn't that high. People only pay for things if they feel pretty confident that the service is going to work. If they don't feel confident that the service is going to work, why pay for it? Why invest time in it, right? You'd never buy a car that you didn't think could get you around town, or you'd never even spend the $2 on a toothbrush that if you weren't sure it would actually clean your teeth. So, all that being said, when someone is considering buying your service, in order for that prospect to believe that the service will help them achieve their goals, right? Because again, that's what's going to help them invest the time or the money. If they believe that the service is going to help them achieve their goals. And whether that service is going to help them with their relationships, or is going to help them with their health or their body, or whether that service is going to help them with their business or their home, their work, a hobby, their spiritual evolution, whatever it is, in order for your prospect to believe that your service is going to help them achieve their goals, they have to actually believe three separate things. There's three separate things that will help them believe that your service can help them achieve their goals. And I want you to pay attention to this because you want to be able to talk about each of these things in your sales conversations. So number one, they need to believe that your service is effective, right? That's pretty obvious. But here's number two. It's a nuance to that one. The prospect has to believe not only that your service is effective, but that your service is going to be effective specifically for that prospect and specifically for her exact needs, right? It's not that it's just effective for, Joe Schmo out there, but they have to believe that your service is exactly suited to her needs. But that's not the only thing that people need to believe is going to help them create results. It's not just about your service being effective. Your prospect also needs to believe that she has the resources, the talent, the resilience, whatever it takes in order to achieve her goals. If your prospect doesn't believe that she has what it takes to achieve the goals, with your service, it doesn't matter how much she believes in your service itself. She's not willing to buy. It's still going to seem too expensive or too much time or not the right time because she needs to believe in herself in order to believe that she can achieve the goal, right? So for example, let's say that you are a business coach. In order for a prospect to buy from you, first of all, they need to believe that whatever their business goals are, that they can achieve them. If the prospect doesn't believe that she can achieve her business goals, there's no way she's going to invest. And then the second thing she needs to believe is that your service, whatever it is that you're going to provide her with, can help fill in the gaps that she can't do on her own to help her achieve her goals. So she needs to believe that she's effective, and she needs to believe that you and your service is effective. So all of this is why it's a vital in your sales conversations to make sure that you talk about a couple of different things with your prospect. So number one, in your sales conversations, you want to make sure that you take some time with your prospect to explore what her vision is. If you're going to help her with business, to explore what her business vision is. If you're going to help her with her health, whatever area that is, to explore what she really desires. When I say vision, I mean what she deeply, deeply desires for herself when it comes to her health. If you're working with relationships, you're going to take some time to explore, what does she really want when it comes to her relationships, whatever it is. So you want to make sure that you make some time to really explore the vision, because here's the thing. Another reason people sometimes don't buy, or I guess like another hump that prospects have to get over in order to invest their money and their time in something, is they have to really, really want the goal that they're going to invest in, right? So you want to take that time to really help the client get excited about what her vision is, to really believe in that vision, to feel passionate about that vision, and to feel like it's important enough to invest her time, her energy, her money into. The second thing you want to make sure that you cover in that conversation is to help your client believe not only in that vision, but to believe, like I said earlier, that she has what it takes to achieve that vision. You want to help her really uncover the strengths and the resources that she has that are going to help her to achieve that goal. She has to feel really good and really awesome about herself in order to be willing to invest the time, the money, the energy. And this is another thing, out of integrity salespeople, and this happens all the time. It's they'll end up shaming the prospect, trying to get them to sell. They're not good enough at this, and that's why they need their service, or they don't have what it takes in that, or this is really, really wrong, whatever it is. Those tactics, number one, are really icky. It ends up making our prospects feel awful about themselves. But the other thing is, it actually works against the sale. In most situations, people don't buy when they're feeling bad about themselves, when they feel like they can't. People buy when they feel like they can, it's going to happen, it's going to be worth that time and that money. And then another area here that you want to make sure that you cover in that sales conversation, again, they have to not only believe in themselves and believe in their vision and be excited about it, but they have to believe in you and that you can specifically help them with their exact needs. So you want to take time in that sales conversation to really share with them what the strategy would be if the two of you were to work together. What are the step by step that you're going to take together to get your prospect from point A, where she is now, to point B, where she would like to be. That will help her believe that you are effective and that the work that you're going to do together is specifically suited to her and to help her reach those goals, right? So all of this is really important. You need those elements in the sales conversation in order to get the buyer to feel like it's worth the time and the money, and also to feel like it is the right time to do it. Now, there's actually two other reasons why prospects will sometimes feel like a service is either too expensive or too consuming or not the right time. And one of those reasons is if your prospect isn't motivated enough to reach her goals, it's going to feel like if she's not excited enough about getting to the goal, she's not going to waste her time and her money on the service. So as I said earlier, one of the ways to get people excited about their goals is to take some time in that sales conversation, explore the vision, get them excited in the vision. But the other thing that you want to do in the sales conversation to really motivate the client, again, not to buy, motivate the client to want to reach her goals. If she's motivated to want to reach her goals and she believes that she can get the goals and you can get her to the goals, then she'll be motivated to buy. So then the other thing here to get her motivated is to also help her see what's not working for her right now, like where her gaps are currently that are holding her back from her goals. And if you can help her really see those gaps and see that she doesn't want to be in those gaps anymore, that she wants to move beyond them, then you're going to have a much more motivated buyer. All right, there's one other reason why prospects can have objections to a sale. I'm going to save that for another Facebook Live because this one is starting to get pretty long. But so we'll do that another day. I'll do another live on that. But again, people will buy only if they believe that the service that they're going to buy into will help them achieve goals that they really, really, really want. And also that they have the resources, the resilience, the talent, what they need to achieve those goals. That's what's going to help people buy. If this is intriguing you, if you're nodding your head as you're listening to all of this and you feel like, I want to learn more about this, if you want to learn exactly how to have each of those parts of the sales conversation that I just shared with you, if you want scripts for that, types of questions to ask for each of those sections of the sales conversation, how to maneuver all of that, then I'd love to invite you to a day-long training that I'm going to be holding in February. It's called the Authentic Sales, what's it called? I think it's called the Authentic Sales Conversations Workshop. I should know what it's called. I think that's what it's called. The Authentic Sales Conversation Workshop. We're going to be together for 5.5 hours. And during that time, I'm going to take you step by step through every part of the sales conversation that you need to have in order to get your prospects over that hump of, I'm not sure if this is the right service for me. I'm not sure if I can do this. Do I really want to buy all the things? And to get them to a place of feeling really excited to say yes to working with you, a place where through that conversation where you don't have to lower your rates and also where you don't have to feel icky or out of integrity or like you're convincing, the prospect to do something or like you feel like you have to be someone you're not. I'm going to show you a way to do this where you feel authentically yourself. So if you'd like more information on that, you can find it at joannalindenbaum.com/sales. And there's also a special rate for a short period of time. Again, it's joannalindenbaum.com/sales. And I'd love to hear, what you thought of this video, what it's bringing up for you, what ideas it's sparking for you. If you've had these objections come up in your sales conversations, how it's gone, all of that. Let me know. And it's so good to see you, Deborah and Karen. Yeah, you guys should I hope you do the workshop. It'd be fun to have you guys. All right. Talk to you soon, everybody. Bye.